What's up, real MVPs? Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into another edition of MVP Sports Live. Right here, you're either watching us on Twitch or you're watching us on MVP Sports. I am joined, as I always am, with my beautiful co-host, Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
Dave, apparently, and I'm just going to spoil some of this, before we start the show, before we get into housekeeping, we've got our daily edition of What Did the Comments Say About Us Now? And Dave, I was going to praise you because I'm like, wow, you got a really good comment on the
Followed by
video.
a really bad comment.
Followed by one I didn't even see. You read it to me and I was like, holy shit, where did that come from? Because the other one was just so nice. Like, oh man, I agree with Dave on Denny Avdia. He's talking really good stuff about him. But I want to start off the show, Dave. I'll kick it to you of what did they say? The comment section, that is.
So today's comment comes from our video talking about the rookies 1 month into the season, giving them their grades. Ricky did just post this on the 21st. So again, love the fresh content. I hope you guys are enjoying it. But yeah, it was really love the way Dave analyzes Denny. Couldn't agree more. Thank you, Liam, for the kind words. And then Action Jackson. I'm just going to start off with saying, I really implore you to come join our Discord. I think you would get a better understanding of where we're coming from on some of our takes and join in the discussion. I think it'd be really good if you want to do that. But he says, Dave became a douche after his hair grew out. First off, been me the whole time. Ask Ricky, nothing's changed in the last fucking decade. This is
Dave's like, been the same douche that I was on the fast break.
Nothing has changed. Hate to break it to you. He used to be respectful and seemed like he put time into his opinions and research. Now he seems like he checks ESPN before the show and watches some YouTube highlights. One, I don't have cable. I don't even get ESPN as a channel.
Yeah.
Can't do it, won't do it. So I don't do that. And again, YouTube highlights. If you miss a game, it's not bad as fill-in content, but like, let's be honest, here in fucking MVP Discord, we are watching games nightly. About 3 games a night on average. So if you guys do want to check us out, join the community, the world's best community, the universe's best community. I'm sorry, is that your term, Ricky?
Greatest community in the universe, Dave.
That flows way better. Yeah, shout out to our Discord. Everybody in there is awesome, incredibly respectful conversations. Love it. And I think we all get something out of it. So Action Jackson, I'm not mad at you. I just want you to help understand and join the Discord, and we'll go from there.
So what I'm gonna say is this is a little nugget of, you want to know why I think Action Jackson might have formed that opinion, Dave?
Why is that?
Think back to the fast break. Like, there was no room for Dave to argue with me because it was always Sean that was arguing with me. Now it's just you and I. If anyone's going to have an argument, it's both of us, to where maybe that's where it comes from. Because Sean and I usually had most of the arguments on MVP Sports
Live. You guys had some pretty passionate arguments over there.
Oh, I threw headsets, Dave, yeah.
No.
I threw headsets.
But yeah, this has been a great airing of the grievances. It might become a weekly segment, might become a daily segment. I don't know. A little Festivus, though, in the middle of January.
Just the Price is Right music plays. Dun 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 dun. What did the comments say this time? We'll have a weekly comment
ourselves at all times, you know.
But Dave, we got a jam-packed show talking draft for the NBA, talking NBA trades, talking UFC 257, and then we're also making our picks for the NFL Championship weekend. 2 great games going on this weekend. Before we get into everything, quick housekeeping. Number 1. If you want to join that great community, Dave was talking about the greatest community in the universe, Discord, link down below, or !Discord, get you that link into Twitch chat. If you would like to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids is how you could do that. You can give a little money, get rewarded for doing so. Also, thank you to our Patreon sponsor, Pat Hill. You can also support us by throwing us a sub on Twitch. Amazon gives you Prime Gaming. Ben yesterday just said, fuck, I'll throw my Prime Gaming this month at you. It really helps us out, and it rewards you because you get the same rewards that a Browns patron gets. We're on Twitch every Monday through Friday. MVP Vids on Twitch, twitch.tv/MVP Vids. We're also on YouTube at MVP Sports. Also, today's show is sponsored by MANSCAPED, but we will talk about them later. Dave, first thing we're going to take a look at today is the NBA draft. This is a patron reader or patron listener mail question from the mailbag that silver and above patrons get to ask us each and every month questions and topics that they would like us to talk about on the show, potentially on the show. And this comes from Pat Hill, patron sponsor, and
aforementioned.
he wants to talk about Ayo Dosunmu, Dave. And the way this question was phrased, it was like a shot to my heart, Dave, because he was like,
couldn't miss a chance.
he's like, is Ayo Dosunmu really a top 10 player, or is this just Ricky basically riding the Ayo cock? That's basically how the question. Not exact phrasing, but I'm paraphrasing here.
Sure.
So I wanted to just start the show with Ayo's realistic stock, Dave, because a lot of people have him all over the place. For example, the reference I am using is yet again, a lot of people use Tankathon, even though, like we've said, it's one guy that does that website. It's kind of like if one of us had a website.
It's honestly one of the best websites as far as doing draft sims and like the way it's laid out. I think I do give him compliments. We do use it often.
I love it.
Beats the hell out of Real GM.
Yeah.
Shout out to Real GM.
You know what? I do like Real GM for the draft picks, though. They lay out the future picks very nicely. So at least there's that. Not using their depth charts. Go to Roto World for depth charts. They're a lot better. But so Tankathon has Ayo Dosunmu as the 33rd overall prospect in this draft, and the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th best point guard behind number 1 point guard Jalen Suggs. Apparently that happened yesterday. But Ayo Dosunmu, Dave, to me, maybe he's not top 10 to where I had him in our mock draft, but to me, I look at it and I go like Jared Butler, Joel Ajayi, Josh Giddey. Like, I look at these guys and I go, having Ayo that low, it's like Ayo Dosunmu to me is definitely not a second round pick. He should be at least a 20 to 30 round pick. Am I right?
I would say late lottery still is as high as he can go. I think he could go as high as maybe 12, and as low as maybe 25-ish. I don't think there's any way in hell he falls to the second round. I think that for someone who's putting up as many big game performances as he has this year, it's shown a lot. And the growth is the other thing you love to see out of these guys who have returned to college year over year. We're talking about somebody who's shooting like 50, 40, 80. Great splits. Looks like he has helped himself become a leader over the years at Illinois. Ricky can speak more to that as he is a close fan of the team. But everything you see out of him seems like this is a guy who's got high character, great work ethic, and just continues to grow and work and build his game. So I don't know why people are thinking second round because of the age or anything. Like, this is a guy who is absolutely legitimate and I think might fall in the same category as someone who got overlooked in Donovan Mitchell. Like, just because you're not a freshman does not mean that you cannot be a very good player.
Yeah. And I mean, everything that he does, the thing about the leadership is just like you hit the nail on the head. This is a kid that came in out of Illinois to Illinois, Morgan Park area. Didn't even have to come here either. Like, there were some people that were like, oh, you know what? Like, he's going to go somewhere else. He's going to do the Anthony Davis thing of going to Kentucky. He's going to do the Jabari Parker thing of like going to a Duke and then just not playing for Illinois. But he's someone that wanted to come here. And then so the first year, it's like, okay, I want to raise my draft stock. He came back for a second year. Then this past year, it was like, you know what? The draft stock's not where I'm at. He says he wants to win a championship, which I do believe. And that's the main reason he said, but let's be honest, he came back also to raise that draft stock. And it's like, I just look at what he can do. And to me, he could be under the right coach, because yet again, all these prospects have to go to the right team.
Yeah.
To me, he is a guy that can fit the mold. Like, and when I say this, I'm not saying he's going to be exactly these players. But to me, he can fit the mold of what you see Donovan Mitchell doing, what you see Victor Oladipo doing. These like scoring guards who can mainly get to the basket. Like, he's not going to be a dead-eye shooter. He's not like Kevin Durant. He's not one of the best shooters in college basketball, but he's a scorer that can get to the basket. And if this past year, Dave, I've already shown the picture. He bulked up a lot. If he bulks up, I kind of want to say if he bulks up even more for the NBA, like his already good athletic rebounding could get better from the guard position. Like, he's never going to be a guy that averages like 10 boards a game, but he could be someone that I think in the NBA at the high end of his potential grabs like between 4 to 6 rebounds a game.
Yeah,
More so
I
than
know.
5 or 6.
And you talk about building up and bulking up the photos that you had shared, like the muscle he added, he literally took that immediately and then used it to drive to the basket more. You look at the percentages have jumped for his finishing at the basket, at the rim, getting to the foul line. You know, he's getting 2 additional foul shots a year. I think that he's really understanding how he can leverage his own athleticism into getting contact, getting to the line, and again, putting that pressure on the defense, making them make mistakes. So, yes, he can pull it from 3 at times. He's not a dead eye shooter, like you said, but still, I'm telling you, like 50, 40, 80, those are nothing to fucking shy away from. It's not like it's one shot a game. He's not, out there taking like wide open threes. He's taking, multiple threes a game. So I really do respect his all around game. And I do love the call out, Mad Rogue saying, age is one of the most overrated traits scouts look at, because everybody wants the youngest, because like, hey, that gives us the most time with them to build up the correct attributes or the correct skills for them to succeed in the NBA. It's like the less time they spend in college, the better, because then we don't have to reteach them how to do things our way. I think a lot of time people are like, oh, well, he's capped off. He's already in his 3rd year of college. Clearly, in 3 years, like, how much more is he going to grow? I think what we're seeing right now is age really shouldn't matter too much anymore. Like, I get it. You're still going to have the cases that don't make sense, where it's like, there's a 24-year-old Peyton Pritchard who hit the NBA running, looks like an absolute stud, a dead eye from the outside, someone who can help contribute to winning basketball in the NBA at the highest level, playing on a deep playoff team that is the Celtics over there. So like, I think it's very much becoming to that point of like, hey, it's not really a knock anymore. You have to look at the situation more. So you can't just say age equals bad. Like, I think there's a lot of situations, again, when they're highly successful in college, look how that translates. Look at what Brandon Clark has done in the NBA in the short amount of time he's been there as an older player when he got drafted. There are a bunch of guys who have done that. Yes, it is not a rule. There are guys who are older who have not progressed really. But again, Malcolm Brogdon, another guy, came into the NBA, not a spring chicken, continued to grow and expand his game. So I think this is the future. I think this is definitely where the NBA scouts should be going towards, is if you can show sustained growth and continued high ability to either score, defend, whatever that elite trait is that you have, you absolutely should not be penalized for your age.
Well, and I mean, you can even look at this too. Like you mentioned Donovan Mitchell earlier. There's a guy in this one. He is not going to be like Ayo's not going to fall into where this player that I'm going to mention was, because he went undrafted. Ayo is going to get drafted. But like, even look at Fred VanVleet. 4 years at Wichita State, goes undrafted, and now it's like, what, 4 years? Like,
I'll put the quotes on undrafted because it was a request to not be drafted after a certain point in time.
Okay. I mean, and yeah, like, I feel like
same thing that happened to, I think, Norm. Was that a Norm or one of the other one of their 7 shooting guards that they have on that roster is the same situation where they chose to not be drafted by a team in the 2nd round, and they'd rather go work out and earn their spot on the preferred team if they have the opportunity.
And then what, third year in the league, he is his coming out party with how he performed in those playoffs.
Dad VanVleet.
And now he's the fucking starter. Like, he's the starting 2 guard.
And he's about to go get that bag of money. Yeah. Like, he's about to make $20 million a year probably.
Yeah. And it's like, you can go ahead, like, that's why I look at this list, and this is everyone's list, not just like one list, is yes, Suggs and Cunningham are at the top. I'm talking about point guards. Yes, they're at the top. They're in their
Cunningham, then Suggs. Can we just respect?
Yes, Cunningham and Suggs. I agree with you. I should put some more respect on Cade's name. So you got Cade, you've got Jalen right at the top. I feel like the only reason lists have Jaden Springer at like the 3rd best point guard, because he's kind of like Kobe White in my mind, or combo guard, but I would like him more at the 2 guard position. That's just me personally. That's why with me, I'm like, how can you be the 3rd best point guard when you're more of a shooting guard? in my mind. But yet again, he's a freshman. He's only 18 years old. That's what people are going to kind of gush over. And it's like,
is
after
Ayo more of a combo guard? Like we've been bringing up the Don Mitch comps. Like, do you think that he will be a 2 in the NBA because he is more of a combo guard long term?
I think it's one of those where I feel like Io has more versatility than like a Kobe White or a Springer, where Io can fit into either role that you put him into. It just depends on who's next to him. Like, for example, like we see at Illinois, where it's like if Adam Miller's out there with him, then he's more of that point guard role in my mind. Adam Miller plays the 2 guard. But then if they have a rotation where Corbello is out there, Corbello is one of the best passers on that team. So it's like he takes over more of the point guard role. Io goes to the 2 guard. You bring up a good point. Maybe people see Io as the same thing. And if you do, then yeah, that's why you would have him lower on your point guards. But like after...
But if you look at scoring guards, or sorry, finish your thought and then we'll talk scoring guards if he does get lumped in that category.
I was just going to say after that, it's like Giddey, Butler, and Ayayi. It's basically you've got the one international kid where we know the stigmatism on internationals. And then it's like junior and junior along with Io. And it's like Jared Butler, yes, he's a good guard. To me, I like him more for his defense than his offense, although his offense is just as good as his defense.
I mean, he's come along so well, yeah.
He's just like, to me, it's and yet again, maybe it's like what we see with Syracuse for the longest time, where it's like, it's more of like the system where it's like that Boeheim zone or zone defense, and then they go somewhere else and it's not quite the same. Maybe that's it for Baylor, but I don't think so. Butler's good defensively.
I buy into him.
And Joel Ayayi, I think that everyone says like, oh, is Jalen Suggs one of those players where he's good on Gonzaga, but that's only because they don't play anybody in the WCC, and that they're going to get exposed when they go to the tournament. I don't know if they get exposed, but I look at Joel Ayayi, and it's like, okay, add him to the category of what we just said with Springer and possibly Io of if Jalen is your point guard, and if you have Joel next to him, who's your point guard? It's Jalen Suggs. So, like, that's kind of the thing where maybe it's a combo situation there as well.
Yep, I agree. But if you do break it over to looking at Io as a 2 guard, I mean, he's clearly behind Jalen Green. But after that, Springer would be right there, Book Knight right there, and then Moses Moody. Like, it's very... would you put him above any of those guys at the 2? If he's strictly a 2, and I know we don't know what he will truly be yet, because I think a lot of it depends on what team he goes to and what they see their lineup looking like. I mean, the nice thing is he has combo guard tendency, so he can do some leading as a point guard. He can do some facilitating, even off ball. So I do like what he brings, but do you have him above any one of those 3 guys? Like Moody's the only one where I'm like, I mean, he is just the 3-and-D guy over there, and Book Knight is the athletic hype beast. Like, do you have him over either one of those guys? I think he falls in like right above Keon Johnson, if I'm being honest.
That's what I would do. Like, the thing with Book Knight and Moody, like Moody, you mentioned 3-and-D, but like to me, Moody is more of that like that 2 to 3 wing type of guy, and that's what people want in the NBA. They want those wing guys that can play more where it's like either 3-4 or 3-2, like kind of that hybrid between them.
Who can defend just about damn near anything.
Yeah, I mean, look at Patrick Williams.
Yeah. Well, Patrick Williams, I mean, like different kind of piece.
Yeah, but he rose because it's like, oh, he can defend any of those 3 positions.
Yep.
And like you said, Book Knight's a hype piece.
Who can defend as well too. I mean, no slouch. Tennessee, that whole fucking team, like they just shit out excellent defenders. It looks like this year.
I'll be honest, I like Johnson more than I like Springer. On Tennessee, I like Keon. Like from what I've seen, and maybe Vol fans are going to get mad at me. I like Keon Johnson better than Jalen Springer from what I've seen from Tennessee games, and then the little bit of film, because I'm a guy where I just watch the games, and then once the season's over, that's when it becomes like a film study with these kids. I think the real like wild card in all of this with the point guards is Dacian Nix, though. Like you mentioned it, because we don't know. We won't know until second week of February they start. They're
I
gonna be
believe so, yeah.
they're gonna be going down for their quarantine soon,
Yep.
for their 2-week quarantine, and then we get to see them play in the bubble for the G League. He is the only one in my mind to where it's like he can either solidify himself as 3 or join this group, because I think Springer, Nix, Giddy, Butler, Ayayi, and Ayo, there's no solidified order in my mind. It's just whatever you prefer. And I know that people say, well, Ricky, that's a fucking big board. It's whatever you prefer. I might be biased. I like Ayo over Ayayi. I think he's more of a pure scorer, and that's what I think works, especially offensively in the NBA. Butler is one where, yet again, do you want offense or defense? If you want offense, I go Ayo. If you want defense, I want Jared Butler more than Ayo. Giddy is one to where it's like, yet again, everyone thought LaMelo Ball. Oh, look at LaMelo Ball in the Australian League. He sucks, Dave. He's not even playing that well in the Australian League. And then he comes over here and it's like, oh, he's going to be the rookie of the year.
It's almost like someone, two people on the show might have told the people that time after time after time after time.
Time after time.
Nice callback. Yeah, I mean, it's just, there's a lot to be said about international prospects and the stigma of them. So we'll have to see Giddy as he approaches the draft. I think he'll be rising. I don't think this is a situation where people have him too high on their boards early this year.
Yeah. And I mean, last thing I'll say is just with teams. I mean, right now the order is kind of, it's going to be shaken up.
Yeah.
But like you look at it and it's like, I think Cade's 1, Suggs is at least 2 or 3. After that, it's like Raptors could be looking for Raptors, Bulls, Magic probably not, but throw it out there anyways. What if I keep scrolling like if fucking DeMar DeRozan leaves, fucking the Spurs could be looking for a guard, the Rockets could be looking for anything. The Knicks, I saw that Eric said Ayo mocked to the Lakers on Tankathon. He's going to the Jazz at 29. Could you imagine that? Fucking Mike Conley, Mike Conley leaves. He's a unrestricted free agent. They draft Ayo Dosunmu, and it's a future backcourt of Ayo and Don Mitch.
Probably not, because neither one of those guys is a pure passer. Mike Conley's also low-key been one of the best players in the NBA this year.
Yeah.
If you look at what Chris Paul did last year for the Thunder, Mike Conley is putting up very, very good numbers and elevating his teammates. And all credit to the sociopath of a head coach they have over there.
The loan shark.
He is doing something that crazy. If you guys haven't been paying attention, I know this isn't a Utah topic, but just a quick Utah offensive system flowing perfectly. Mike Conley hit his stride late last year, ate a lot of shit in the beginning of the year for his poor play, but he is legit. I think he would stay, if anything, though. But they do need a future backup for him, or a future carryover piece.
Dave also almost dropped a "Do you even watch?" there, where it's like a.
Ain't gonna do that.
You try, almost slid it, and you're like, no, I'm not. I'm gonna be above the "Do you even watchers" out there. Let's move on from draft talk, Dave, into actual NBA talk. Where Kevin Porter Jr. We talked about him. We said what team could trade for KPJ, and Dave, he did get traded to a team we didn't even fucking mention. A team that apparently was not on the list. The list was the Clippers, the Raptors, the Knicks, and the Magic. That was the list. And KPJ gets traded to the Rockets for a heavily protected future second round pick. So basically for nothing. The pick is top 55 protected, meaning it is likely never to convey. So he basically got sent. Did I not
say that almost exactly when we had the show?
Yeah, it's almost like the Cleveland Cavaliers got a call and they're like, "Well, what do you want for him? Buy our soda, like pay for our soda for a year. That's all you got to do. Make sure my Pepsi machines are stocked fully. All right,
Cleveland
you got
saves
it."
Money. Cleveland saves money by not having to release him and pay out his contract. So I think it is even if you're not actually getting any capital back, you're getting the dollars back, which feels good for Cleveland's front office. It's bad that they had to part ways with him, though, because I do think that Kevin Porter Jr. still does have so much basketball potential. He's just a fucking knucklehead, though.
Yeah.
Like, you
Eh,
got to get his head on straight. You got to get him back focused on the game of basketball. Whatever's happening in his personal life
mhm,
clearly is not going well. So take whatever time he needs. He's still 20. Like,
mhm.
he's still a fucking kid out there. So I want them in Houston, which I love the pickup.
I was going to ask you, is Houston the right spot for him?
It's not
Because
the
of
wrong
all that.
spot.
Because
It's
of
not the
all
wrong
that.
spot. They are building new culture down there, Ricky. They are
Mhm.
building something new, and they have the ability to take chances on long shots
Yeah.
and let them develop. They're now looking at like a situation where they're not too far off of what the Thunder are doing. You know,
Yeah.
it's the like we can take pure upside players and see what happens because the expectations aren't there anymore.
Mhm.
This is a team that literally lost two former MVPs,
Mhm.
within a matter of a month. So they're just there to, hey, let's see who's healthy. Let's see who plays out the season. Let's filter through this roster. We love Christian Wood. I think they'd love to keep Vic around if they could. John Wall, happy to see him healthy out there. No longer the worst contract in basketball. Boogie, still recovering. Let's be honest, he's not going to be a 30-minute a game kind of guy, but he's still somebody who's just, hey, he's a fantastic player for what he gives us.
Mhm.
So I think that they've got a lot of upside players on that bench that they want to give a lot of run to. So I'm excited to see what they do and see if they trade off some more pieces. PJ Tucker, Gordon going down the line.
Mhm.
We'll see if there's interest from other teams so they can keep stocking up and flip over that roster. I'm excited, man. I
Yeah.
think Houston's a
Well,
great fit for him because of the opportunities they can provide for him.
well, and one of the things I want to say is you mentioned the Thunder. The only difference with the Rockets, they have veterans on that team like right now, like Victor Oladipo, John Wall, fucking Boogie, man. Like this is a guy to where if he can make a connection with KPJ, like, hey, man, look at how I used to be in fucking Sacramento. Like, it ain't fucking worth it, man. Like, you can't be like that. Also, our boy J Dub in the Discord, love John.
Yep.
Love talking to him about his
Hell yeah.
basketball takes. He kind of referenced what I'm going to bring up here from the ESPN article where it says the Rockets intend to have assistant coach John Lucas, who has helped several NBA and NFL players to overcome personal issues to have successful careers, work closely with Porter, a source said. So, like, that's why I feel like this is a good spot for him, a really good spot, because you have someone like John Lucas, you have veterans on this team, there's low expectations for this team. So, like you said, you can go ahead and take a stab at KPJ. And really, if it doesn't pan out, it doesn't pan out kind of a thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like you know what? Wash our, like, I didn't even want to say that either. Like, not even a wash our hands, just like well, it didn't work out. Mainly, and this is what you had hit in our first video when we talked about this, I think the Rockets may be a team where if it doesn't work out on the court, they and John Lucas are going to do what is needed to make sure KPJ works off the court. Because that's the most important thing. Because, like you said, obviously there is something in here that is not working right. Because like I'm not even talking about the off the court stuff with like the marijuana or the gun. I'm just talking about I'm gonna flip out at the team because my locker got moved kind of a thing. Like
Here's the thing.
It seems like to some people that would be an overreaction, but yeah.
Did you listen to TNT Crew talk about it?
I did not. I have not watched many inside the NBA.
Kenny was like, "You damn right he freaked out. Like that. If someone moved my locker on me, I'd be pissed at him too.
Mm-hmm.
I'd let them know that's some bullshit." Like Kenny was 100% on agreement with what Kevin Porter's reaction was. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of it is just respect. It's, do you think that I have a future on this team by moving his locker, by basically, and I understand he wasn't with the team during that entire time period, but it's a sign of respect. It's a sign of standing with the team. By moving him, it's a sign of disrespect. It means that we no longer believe in you.
This is just a question. Would it have been different if they contacted him and said, "Hey, just letting you know, we're going to move your locker. We're letting you know ahead of time so you're not freaking out. Like, oh shit, where's my locker?"
We want to put Taurean Prince down with the rest of the team since he's in with the roster now. You're not back with the team yet. Like, let's, this makes sense for both of us kind of a thing. And instead it was just, fuck you, down the road. And we moved all your shit too, by the way. And like again, nobody likes having their personal shit touched by somebody else.
Yeah.
So like I understand the upset.
I agree.
I understand the frustration there. I get that, and it is definitely a like I said, it's a big hit of we don't trust you, we don't have a future with you.
Mhm.
Like it was a clear message being sent, whether they want it to be or not. That is the most like I don't want to say like petty, but
Mhm.
like it is very bullshitty the way they did that, and I
Why,
think it was to get a reaction out of him, and
why does
it did
this
just
always
that.
got to happen in fucking Cleveland, man? Like, I'll ask this: is Cleveland the worst organization in the NBA?
No, Timberwolves.
You think are the Timberwolves worse
Yes.
run than the Cavaliers?
Yes. Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
just because of a develop? Is this because of what stems back to what you put in the Discord, Dave, about the development and how you can't wait to see Cat off this team because he's gonna pop off like no other?
I mean, he'll put up Wilt numbers. If Andrew Wiggins' departure from the Timberwolves has shown anything, it's the fact that Minnesota has done nothing but hold their players back. They're a piss poor
Ricky
organization.
Rubio too. Look at how well Ricky Rubio played when he left the Chris Dunn.
And you see what and you see what happened now that Ricky Rubio is back?
Yeah.
He's depressed as fuck.
Yeah.
The man could not give a shit out there. Like it is sad to watch what Ricky Rubio is doing for them this year. I feel fucking horrible for the players who are stuck on that team, especially my fucking long boy.
The long boy.
But like,
And
look,
Sean's boy, Naz Reid.
Nasri too. The point is, no, Cleveland's not the worst run, but they're also not the pinnacle of what it should look like. And I can spot a shithole organization because I'm from Chicago, and we've had one for so fucking long.
Yeah.
It's very easy to see other ones around the league, and you look what Minnesota has tried to do and failed to do, and the staff they put out there around their players and how effective it has been. The only time they had success was when they got Tom Thibodeau there, and even he couldn't kick their players' asses enough.
Yeah.
He had to go bring his own fucking Timberwolves to kick his roster's ass.
Jimmy couldn't even fix the T-Wolves, man.
An injury to drag that team kicking and screaming into the fucking playoffs. So like, it's just very frustrating. Yes, the Timberwolves are the worst. Cleveland better than them, and they're on the right track. But this was disappointing. I think this is a situation where not enough attention was paid to keeping KPJ on track. It's someone who there were rumors during the draft period, especially coming out of his time in college, where it was like something's clearly not right here. Yeah. He fought with his college coach. He got benched in college. Someone who was the best player on the team. They didn't seem to have any plans to include him in that offense. They didn't go out of their way to work with him at USC. So I think that you knew there was some personality stuff that you had to work through with him. And I'm thinking they did not spend the right time and resources to help him get to where he needs to be. And I'm not saying it's all on them. Say it's a him thing too. You both got to want it. But like this situation to me looks like, he's got a lot of shit going on in his life. They didn't do enough to help him. He got frustrated. They fucked him over as a final public thing. And then obviously he is now a Houston Rocket.
Yeah. And I mean, even Mad Rogue brings up a good point that I didn't even think of. Zach LaVine. Look at how Zach LaVine's been playing in Chicago. Like, you've got Zach LaVine as one. I was going to bring up Chris Dunn, where Chris Dunn came in from, think about when he was brought into the Bulls. People saying, oh, man, we got Chris Dunn in that deal. Oh, at least we got Zach LaVine and Lauri Markkanen, or got to get the 7th overall pick. To where this year, there are Bulls fans still, man, I wish we would have kept Chris Dunn, man. I wish we would have had, like, just the fucking flip of, like, we didn't like him coming in to where now we do like him. Another player that played well after leaving.
But Andrew Wiggins looks like a fucking two-way stud now, and it's hilarious.
Is that more on the Warriors? Is that leaving Minnesota or going to the Warriors?
Good both, Ricky. Good both. He's playing for a winning organization, a team that has leadership, guys who actually give a fuck, a head coach who cares and will tell you. And someone, like I said, the mentorship on the team from someone who is so defensively minded. We'll talk about that situation in a couple of minutes. So just all around watching that transformation, and everybody's like, "Oh, you're gonna see it like he's the same old Wiggins." Is he though? Is he?
Is he? Is he though? Yeah. Dave, let's move on away from the hard court, and let's go to a sport we don't really get to talk about much, Dave, because I have to say this now. You nor I are MMA experts, or I should say, at least I'm not an MMA expert. I just love watching MMA. I'm saying that now because there are people that are going to come into this video, Dave, and be like, these fucking idiots don't know what they're talking about. I'm going to let you know up front what we
That's
are.
right. By the time this shit gets up, the fight will be in like 5 hours anyway. So,
But Poirier McGregor too, Dave. What do you think? What are your thoughts about what's going to happen? Because for me, I want this to end in the first round, and I want McGregor to fucking net. Nothing against Poirier, nothing against Dustin. I want my boy Conor to be back on the mountaintop, Dave, doing what he does best, knocking you out in the first round, maybe 20 seconds into the fight.
Well, it took him longer than that the first time they fought. I think it was about a minute 50 something during their first fight. So, like, yeah, McGregor's good, but this isn't going the distance. I don't know if it's a 20-second knockout like how quickly the Cowboy fight was, which was just, that was such a bizarre way with the shoulder fucking, like, that was such a weird fight. But again, Cowboy had been concussed, or I should say knocked out multiple times prior. I think he had lost, 3 out of his last 5 fights or 4 out of his, like, something awful. Like, he had no chin anymore, and it was clearly his money fight. That was his time to get his bag. I don't blame him for taking the fight, but it was very clear that he was not going to stand a fucking chance in that fight. So this one, at least, bit closer. This is a rematch. I love the idea. I love the build-up. Seems like a happier Conor McGregor. The training videos of him, very happy. He's excited. He wants to fight so badly this year. He talked about, hey, I'd love to get in my 3 fights as soon as possible, kind of a thing. Like, I'm ready to go. If I knock out, or when I knock out Dustin, I'll take the next man up, kind of a thing. Obviously Khabib is gonna fucking come out of retirement at some point. Everybody's like, it's gonna happen. Will it be for Conor again? Will it be for an even bigger bag and to show Conor that Conor's still not on his level? I don't know, but I am excited for this fight. I do think McGregor wins as well, though. I'm on your side.
Like, the last time him and Dustin fought, you're right. It was a 1-round KO TKO. Minute 46 is how long it took Conor.
So right around that area.
The Cowboy fight that you referenced, which was a year ago from today, pre-COVID was this fight, by the way.
Well, in the U.S. that we knew of, but probably by then we actually did have COVID in the U.S. We just ignored it.
Pre-lockdown and pre-everything just basically being like it is now.
There you go.
40 seconds it took him, like you said. The only...
I'd love to share my screens. I don't even have any shit up for this.
Yeah.
That's just okay, Ricky. That's like fans' knowledge.
Since that first Poirier fight, which was September 27th of 2014, Dave, there are 2 fights in Conor's history that have gone past the second round. It was the Nate Diaz fight that was in 2016 that went 5 rounds, went the
Diaz
distance.
Fucking battles.
Yeah,
man will not die.
Went the distance. Conor won with decision. And then the Khabib Conor fight in 2018, where Khabib beat him by submission in 4 rounds. In the 4th round, 3 minutes into it.
Yeah, that fight went long because Khabib wanted it to go that long now. That's one of those situations where he's like, I'm going to get my money's worth out of this fight.
Yeah.
I will punish you, I will embarrass you, and I will destroy you. And Conor even cheated multiple times in that fight and still got fucking choked.
Yeah, but
usually, neck cranked, technically. But
usually Conor takes him 1 round or 2 round.
He's a fucking phenomenal striker. That's what I'm excited to see again. Is how quick his fists are. Like, I want to see like how he's moving right out the gates, because you're right. It's literally like the first 20 seconds will tell the whole story. It's either like Conor's aggressive, loving it, throwing heavy bombs, or it's gonna be a situation where they're feeling each other out because this is fight number 2.
Yeah.
And Dustin knows what to expect this time around. So I can't wait to see this one. This is super exciting. And I believe in the US it's gonna be like a 1 a.m. fight or
for
late, right?
For our time, I think it's 2:00. Here, let me look it up.
2:00?
2:00 in the afternoon.
It's afternoon?
I believe that's when it is. Let me look at, because it's the Abu Dhabi fight.
Right. I don't know about that then.
Let's see, because fight card date, CBS Sports has me covered, Dave.
Right, because if it's anywhere similar to
WWE,
I'll wait it out. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, that's a good metric.
Come on,
Because WWE and Saudi, they always would start their shows in the U.S.
There we
around
go.
noon.
So CBS Sports says blah 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 blah. Just give me the GD time. I don't need to know the card or the odds. Start time. It says 10 p.m. Eastern. So are they
I
gonna?
I thought so. Yeah.
Are they? They're fucking gonna. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll
By the
be
time I thought,
9.
It'll be about 1.
Yeah, 9 p.m. Central Time then for us. So they're
Yeah.
gonna run it.
Main card pay-per-view is 9 p.m.
Okay.
So by the time we actually get to the Conor Dustin fight, and again, this is money. This is why it's not an afternoon fight.
Yeah.
Because it's a Friday or it's a Saturday night fight, so they want to see that shit come.
What wasn't the last big UFC pay-per-view though, like during the day?
Usually usually it's nights. They've had a couple day ones though.
Because I remember one of the last ones I was at my sister's house, and then we came home like maybe 4 or 5 o'clock, and I got home just in time to see like the end of the main event. Yet again, couldn't remember who it was. It was just one of the random ones I was watching. But Dave, you know what I will say? After this, you want to know the next UFC pay-per-view that I can't wait for?
What's that?
March 259. It's the Polish champion that I can't say his name. I always fuck it up. Versus Israel Adesanya. The match that we kind of like talked about. His name starts with a B. I always fuck it up.
Jan Blachowicz. I can't. Blachowicz. I can't.
I always fuck it up. I was rooting for him though because he's Polish and I'm Polish. But he's gonna go.
Spellbinder's probably got this one, but yeah.
He's gonna go up against Adesanya, and I can't wait to see that fight because Adesanya's a good fucking fighter also. But Dave, let's move into the dampest of dudes, the soggiest of shooters, the moistest of men, sometimes the mistiest of misses. These are our wet boys. If you're new to wet boys, these are our players of the day, baby. Guys and or girls that we want to give our love to from the day prior that popped off. How it works is Dave gives a wet boy, I give a wet boy, and then the patrons silver and above get to give a wet boy as well. Dave, we will start with you like we always do. Who's your wet boy? January 22nd, 2020.
So, pretty easy one. There are only 3 games in the NBA last night. Had to go with the surprise for me of the night, which was RJ Barrett. His shooting was crispy. Love to see it out there. Enjoy his game, but honestly, it's the steps he's taking to build his game. And one of the biggest criticisms of him his rookie year were some poor shooting splits, some decision making because he wasn't playing next to a true point guard the whole season. Like, how is he going to do this? He kind of showcased a little bit of both last night. So yeah, shout out to RJ Barrett, someone who is going to continue to succeed under Tom Thibodeau. This Knicks team, I don't think we've ever given more love to.
Dude, Knicks are playing.
We love Mitch Rob, love RJ, Austin Rivers, stud. I really do like a lot of the talent on this team. The only guy that we all know, kind of like, whatever, Julius Randle. Yeah. Oh, Emmanuel Quickley, we fucking love too.
Yeah.
Julius Randle, don't give a shit about, but whatever.
Dave,
somebody will take it.
The one thing I will say, 2 things. First off, fuck the Knicks. I say that lovingly. They fucked over my parlay, my three pick parlay. Lakers won, Jazz won by 8 or more. I just needed the fucking Warriors to win by 5 or more, and the Knicks had to go ahead and win. Also, Dave, don't expect the Knicks to win tonight against the Kings because I have a 6 selection parlay for the Kings and Knicks tonight, and one of them is Knicks money line. So of course, when that's happening, the Knicks aren't going to win because they like to screw with me in that sense. But my wet boy, Dave, I don't have a wet boy. I have the elusive dry dude.
A couple times already this year, Ricky. We are 22 days into the year.
My second dry dude this year. My second dry dude in 4 weeks.
If you use it that often.
Dave, this is something that needs to be done. Where Jared Porter obviously deserved it, but the refs last night in that Knicks Warriors game, Dave, S9, S10, S11, S12, they tee up Draymond Green. All right, he's got 1 tee, whatever. But then they teed him up a second time, and the Warriors are trying to tell the ref, hey, yo, like, he wasn't swearing at you, he's yelling at dumbass James Wiseman because the rook needs to be taught a lesson. after the game and the pool report from the NBA, it says, pool report on second technical foul with 1:04 remaining to play in the second quarter of the New York Knicks Golden State Warriors game. Interview conducted by Monty Poole, NBC Sports area, with crew chief Ben Taylor following the game. Here's what it said. Question: why was Draymond Green assessed a second technical foul with 1:04 remaining in the second quarter? Taylor said Green received his second technical foul for profanity that was deemed to be directed at the official. They then asked, it appears Warriors coach Steve Kerr and several players were trying to tell you Draymond Green was addressing teammate James Wiseman. Was that the explanation you heard? Taylor says, yes, it was. Follow-up, did you consider rescinding the second technical after hearing their explanation? Taylor, no, we did not. How the fuck do you, like, oh, we're going to give you a technical for swearing at us. Yeah, but I wasn't swearing at you. Doesn't fucking matter. You swore in my general direction.
Ricky,
like, you get a technical.
To be fair, I'm frustrated with you, but to be fair, you have someone who's notorious for getting technicals.
Yeah.
Someone who's notorious for screaming at refs, getting in their faces. Someone who's notorious for being thrown out of games. And, you know, they argue fucking everything. So what am I shocked to hear the excuse of, I know I'm fucking talking to my teammate. Like, I'm not yelling at you. I might have heard that one once or twice before.
Here's the, like, I get what you're saying, Dave, but here's the point that I have for that is if we're going to be like, and this goes for any player that's like Draymond, where it's like, if we're going to rag on a player for being like that,
DeMarcus Cousins,
we have to be able to give them the benefit of the doubt when they actually do not do it. Like, it's fine to be like, oh, well, he does it all the time. But like when he actually does not do it, we have to be like, oh yeah, he wasn't doing it. Well, yeah, if Grayson Allen can go through a game without trying to trip someone, that'd be fucking phenomenal.
DeMarcus Cousins, Grayson Allen, Draymond Green are all guys who will never get the benefit of the doubt because they've all done dirty shit. That's what it is.
I'm not saying benefit.
You just asked if they get the benefit of the doubt. I said no, they will never get the benefit of the doubt. They will always be heavily scrutized, whether they step the wrong way, if they say the wrong thing, if they fist pump at the wrong time, they will get fucking teed up for it.
So
those are three guys who, at the top of the league, you have to be aware of. Every ref knows them. Every ref knows when they go into a game that is going to include one of them. That those guys are the guys you're just waiting for to fuck up.
I'm not saying give benefit of the doubt to. I'm saying, like, when it's proven, like in this case, it was
How's it proven, Ricky? It's the heat of the moment.
Because he was
Draymond yelling at me that he didn't say it.
He was looking right at Wiseman. Watching the game, he was looking right at Wiseman. Like, this reminds me of the stupid. This reminds me of the stupid shit.
Where was the ref at?
What?
Where was the ref who teed him up standing?
It was in the general direction.
Same area.
But like, it's so fucking stupid. Like, it's like one of those things where, like, when they teed up and threw out, what was it, Rasheed Wallace for he made it was years ago, but like he made that backhanded comment while walking away, and even everyone's like, dude, this is just the refs being soft. It reminds me of like the NFL, when the NFL's like, you know what, if we hear you say a bad word around one of the refs, we are going to throw the flag. And it's like, really, motherfucker? Like, that's what we're going to be?
Who's that cunt of an ump in the MLB?
Joe West.
Yeah. God fucking forbid you breathe the wrong fucking air near Joe West.
It's just...
Because the game is about Joe West, if you didn't know that.
And this is something like, this is the ref affecting the game, and that's why I had to give him a dry dude. I had to, because...
I understand the frustration. I get you.
And I hate the whole, well, it's Draymond, so fucking who cares about him? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Keep on the balls for years, Ricky. I'm never going to forgive that. The refs aren't ever going to forgive the fact that the Golden State Warriors are a team that gets to talk to refs the same way LeBron James does, where they're constantly in refs' faces arguing for calls, arguing for this, arguing for that, and they don't get pushed back.
Maybe it should be like, nobody gets to talk to a ref like that. It shouldn't matter who you are. If it's the right call, it's the right call. Oh, I've just been calling for that for years. But no, that's not how it is.
The problem is that every game is going to be situational. You cannot have everything the same way. Everyone is not treated equally.
Yeah,
everyone is treated fairly.
Get rid of the superstar treatment. That's what you got to do.
Not possible.
No, I know it's not possible, but I'm saying that's what I would love to happen. That would never happen, Dave. You got to get rid of it because
I just
treat
think this
everyone the same.
situation where in the heat of the moment, there's no way you can overturn that. No matter what anyone is saying to you, they could be telling the truth. They could be lying. They could be trying to cover up for anything.
There's cameras everywhere.
That's great. What does the camera show you?
I mean, Steve Kerr should be able to challenge it. If it's something that's going to get someone ejected from a game, should be able to challenge it.
I agree with that. I'm all in on the challenge. I think that should be brought up. That any technical given is challengeable, and I think that the refs need to like take 2 minutes, go fucking watch it from 5 different angles with headphones on, and figure out what the situation is. I'm 100% in agreement.
Or taking a next step level of yet again, this would take away the coach's challenge, like that part of it, but have like a New York, like the NHL and NFL have.
The NBA does have someone in New York.
Okay, and basically have it to where if it's a technical that will result in someone getting kicked out, if that person watches it and feels like, ooh, this one might be close, buzz into the refs and say, yo, you got to take a look at this. Like that is something that would at least help so that this doesn't happen, because
it's tough.
If they're like, yes, it's a fucking Warriors-Knicks game. Who's like, this is going to fucking matter at the end of the year.
It's going to happen in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could happen somewhere where it matters.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think that you just allow the coach's challenge to happen. I think that's the best answer. I don't necessarily think that he did anything wrong in this situation. I don't like the call. I think that it doesn't matter. And yes, there's a level of like, respect the people around you. They're not your punching bags. You can't just swear at them all fucking game. But it's a sport.
Yeah.
They're going to be upset. They're going to be frustrated. They're playing a sport where they're heavily invested. And there will be things said that I guarantee you, like, it's not at you. It's just their frustration in the moment. So I think they need to let that go. I think refs need to make things less personal. I know a lot of the times I've seen calls where it's very much like the ref feels like they have to set the tone or some shit like that. And I'm like, nah, fuck you. Like, just quit being soft, And that's my thought on that one. I don't disagree with everything, Ricky. I think you bring up some very valid points, but I do think that in this case, I don't 100% disagree with what the ref's actions were.
Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to say the biasy against Draymond Green. Like you said, Draymond, Grayson, Boogie, they're all going to get this, and it's just something they have to live with. Yep. The patron wet boy, Dave, they actually went with the one that you wanted, but you passed up if the patrons picked him. Donovan Mitchell, 36 points and a win. Jazz get a big win because they were losing early to the Pelicans. And now the Jazz sweep the Pelicans to 2 wins in 3 days.
Jazz shoot real good. Talked about Quinn Snyder and his work with that offense. I love the team. This is exactly what I wanted to see out of them last year. We didn't get to see it in the playoffs, and they still fought through some hellish series. Like they are such a good team, and they did that again. Reminder, without Bojan Bogdanovic, who was literally playing like like Klay Thompson out there. He was playing incredible defense, incredible offense at the wing. Like I think this team is one of the best teams in the NBA. Love them. And yeah, the Pelicans, that's a story for another day. We will probably talk them next week if this continues, because they have looked so bad. Their system's terrible. We talked about Lonzo Ball, potentially being put on the block now. Obviously, they have not been successful running an offensive system around Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson.
Yeah. And the one thing I will say is one of the things I almost put on the docket for today, but we had the other stuff to talk about, was the Milwaukee Bucks are another team we might have to hit in the future, because they are a team, it seems like when they go up against teams like the Lakers and playoff teams, they lose.
Yes, best team in the league.
When they go up against fucking garbage teams, they win. What?
That's who the Bucks are. They literally, they lost to the champions of the NBA.
Well, is
anyone surprised by that?
Well, no, not just that one game. Like, if you look at their games this year, any team that we looked at and was like, oh, they're going to be a high playoff team, they've lost. Any team that's like either fringe, so like play-in tournament or below, they win. So it's one of those things. Are the Bucks built to win in the playoffs, Dave? They can't beat those opponents now.
At least they can beat the teams they're supposed to. I'm happy for them for that. At least they can do that.
Some teams can't even do that, Dave.
You're damn right.
Some teams play down. But, Dave, before we get into our last segment, we got to talk about today's sponsor,
Do your thing.
which is Manscaped. Dave, we are going to be talking about some NFL picks. We've got 2 games on the docket for today. And Dave, one of the big things to make sure, and whether you're playing at Lambeau or whether you are playing at Arrowhead, that you have the right lawnmower to make sure that grass is nice and pristine, Dave. You got to make sure. You can't make it look like Soldier Field in December, Dave. You got to have it look nice and pristine. There might be some snow. You might need a snow blower also in Lambeau this weekend. Because the news is there might be some snow for that Green Bay and Tampa
Weird
Bay.
when you added snow to it, though. Like that's,
It's the lawnmower part, and that's because today's show is brought to you by Manscaped. Support for MVP Sports Live is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. Join the movement for all your below-the-waist grooming needs. Dave, this thing lasts a long time. 90 minutes. Listen to that hum. You can get 90 minutes of that hum just trimming your family jewels. This thing, you can do it nice and delicate. Won't fucking nick your balls. Won't make you bleed. You won't have a bloody mess down there as, the English folk who watch our show, the English blokes, I should say, that watch our show, would say. Manscaped, you can right now go to manscaped.com, get 20% off free shipping with the code MVP. That's 20% off and free shipping, 2 for 1 at manscaped.com. Use the code MVP. Your balls will thank you. And Dave, that will lead us into our picks for the NFL Conference Championship weekend is upon us. We got an NFC Championship game. We have a AFC Championship game. Dave, first the news coming out of the AFC Championship side. Patrick Mahomes has cleared the protocol, Dave. He's cleared it. He will play for sure. When that happened, the line for the game went from 3 to 3.5. It moved slightly when that move came out.
Something that he was going to play.
Yeah.
I think that's why. I mean, Chad Heine's a fucking champ, but, I think Pat Mahomes might be worth more than half a point.
And Dave, we will start with that one. Let's start with the AFC. This is the nightcapper of the NFC is during the day. We've got Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. Like I said,
future of the NFL.
Line is 3.5. The favorite is the Chiefs. The dogs are the Bills. The question I'm going to ask you, Dave, is
dogs.
What?
The money's on the dogs.
The money is on the dogs. I'm taking the dogs, that's for sure. But I'll get into that. Dave, if Josh Allen wins this game, is he going to propel himself into the top tier of quarterbacks in the NFL if he has not already?
I was going to say, he was literally, number 4 on your MVP board at the end of the year, so I don't fucking know how he's not there. He had a phenomenal season. The addition of Stephon Diggs and Dabble's offense transformed this Bills team into a Super Bowl contending roster. Their defense was excellent. It has continued to be excellent, but really it was the evolution of Josh Allen connecting on that deep ball, having the confidence to make those throws, and knowing that his guys are going to come down with it. I loved what this team did. They had different weapons out there. They got the ball moving. You really respect the strides Josh Allen's taken in his very short career to be able to pull shit like this off.
Yeah, and this is this is one, Dave, where this game really, to me, depends on who gets the ball first. Not how you see where it's we're going to defer to the second half. Yeah. I feel like whoever wins the coin toss may be no, we want the fucking ball first because I don't want to give the ball to the other team. You got 2 offenses here that the Bills, you want to score first. You want to go up 7-0 because this Chiefs offense, we saw it. They were cooking against the Browns. The only thing that saved the Browns is that Patrick Mahomes had to come out of the game and couldn't get back into the game, even though he wanted to. It was basically they would have got blown out in that one. I expect this to be a close game, Dave. If you're a bettor, this is a bettor's dream because no matter who wins, it's going to be more than that 3-point spread or 3.5-point spread. If you're betting money line, if you're liking the Bills in this game, they're plus 155, so that's going to help you. And the over-under in this game is 54, Dave. It is definitely going over.
That is definitely so going over. Who the fuck thought 50? Gumpy dropped some stats today on Pat McAfee's show. Yeah. He said that let me just the only times that Patty Mahomes has lost games, the other team had to put up more than 34 points.
Yeah.
So if the opposing team is putting up 35 points, you don't think that the fucking best offense in football, we're talking Patrick goddamn
Only putting up
Mahomes,
10 points, Dave. Only putting up 10.
like, who the fuck would think, like, no shit, this is going, you put the money down right now. How much are you putting down on this fucking over?
I mean, with me, I might for the first time.
You're gonna parlay some things, aren't you?
I may do 2 parlays, Dave. I may do 1 parlay with the Bills winning, because that's what I'm picking in this game. Bills with the win. Take them straight money line because it pays more than the spread. Take them on the money line, and then take the spread in the Packer game. I'll get to that one when we get to the Packers. I may do the other one where I do over-unders on both of these, because you're right. There's no way that these teams score no more than 22 points each, because that's what you would need to be right on the...
No, it's 54.
No, not 20. So 25, 20, basically like 26, 25 is the score that you would need to be like right there and right around there.
And I get it. I literally just talked about how great this Bills defense is. It doesn't matter. Great means to hold them to the point where it's not a blowout. Like, and the same thing goes. The Kansas City Chiefs defense is opportunistic. I love the way they've been playing lately. I think they are a bend but don't break, and they know when to strike. They've got great guys in that secondary, so I'm really excited for this matchup. I think both teams have fantastic teams, and I think we got the right guys in the AFC Championship. This is the matchup we all wanted to see. So, I mean, unless you're from, like Baltimore or Pittsburgh or some shit like
or
that.
Indy.
But let's get real. These teams are better than
Yeah.
So I love this matchup. I think it's going to be a great fucking game. Definitely going over on the points total. But yeah, I do have Patty Mahomes going on.
Okay. Yeah. This is the first time in a long time you and I splitting on a decision here. We haven't had many games in the playoffs where we split on. But the other game, the day capper, this one's starting at 2:05 Eastern time. We got the GOAT Tom Brady. We got the best quarterback in football right now, Aaron Rodgers. The Packers hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. AB is for sure out, Dave. Bruce Arians said that today. He will not be playing in this one. The line is Packers minus 3.5. The Packers are the favorite. The Buccaneers are the dog, plus 165 for the dog in this one, and the over/under is 52. Dave, what are your thoughts on this one? Brady v. Rodgers for a chance at Super Bowl immortality.
Brady's an old man. I know he's used to playing in the cold in the past, but I do wonder, this whole season he's been down there in Tampa Bay. I think when he has to go up to Lambeau this time around, it's going to be a little different. It's going to be a little colder.
It's going to be a little different.
And I can't wait to see how that plays out. I still just think that I love the idea of Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, cold weather, snow on the field. No one else moves like them out there on their offense. I really think this is a Packers team that's a no-brainer pick to me. I don't even care that Antonio Brown is out. Doesn't matter to me. Didn't think he was going to make a difference in the first place. I love the fact that Vita Vea is back, though, for this Buccaneers team. I think that's huge. I think they've got a great front line, but I just think the Packers offense has been ticking above everyone else this season. They're operating at a different level. So I'm going to take the Packers in this one. I don't honestly know scoring-wise what it is, but I do think that minus 3.5 is not enough, so I would definitely take Packers minus 3.5. No-brainer to me. I'm all in on that.
Yeah, I'm the same with you. I'm going Pack attack in this one. Minus 3.5 is good because if the Packers are going to win, it's going to be by 4 or more. Dave, the only thing I question is the other game we said the over-under, like how is it that low? I think 52 is the right over-under. There's a part of me that wants to take the under in this one. Like, this may be a 28-24, 28-23 kind of a game. But I will say the most important part of this game will be the Buccaneer defense. Like, they are the ones that are going to make, like, they are going to decide whether this is a Packer win.
Boy got a wet boy last week for literally being the best fucking player on the field.
He did. Last time, and this could go the other way for them, last time these two teams played earlier this year, it was in Tampa Bay. The Packers and Aaron Rodgers didn't have a great day. A-Rod had 106 yards, no touchdowns, 2 INTs in that game. Definitely one of his worst performances this year. That could work against the Packers because you don't think A-Rod and Coach LaFleur have that up there on the bulletin board as bulletin board material. This team beat the shit out of us at their place. We got to make sure they feel the wrath of Lambeau in this one. I think this is going to be a hard-fought battle. I don't think that offensive score at a premium. I will go with the Packers in this one. I would take the -3.5. I would also take the under in this one of under 52. And I think that my Super Bowl we're basically going with our Super Bowl predictions, Dave. One of us is going to be right. One of us is going to be wrong. It'll either be Bills or Chiefs versus the Packers because I don't think Tom Brady has a shot.
I'm with you. I mean, you got the young in the AFC, you got the olds in the NFC. I love it because you got the GOAT being eliminated by the current MVP of the NFL and literally the most gifted, athlete we've seen at the quarterback position, just from a throwing standpoint. Literally up until now, Patrick Mahomes is going to take that away from him at some point. I know Aaron Rodgers is still a young 37, but that's basically a spring chicken compared to Tom Brady.
Yeah. Mad Rogue asks, would you rather see Rodgers fail to make the Super Bowl again? No, I know I'm a Vikings fan. No. Thank you, Pat McAfee, for taking away my hatred of Aaron Rodgers.
Same.
Hate the Packers, but I don't hate Aaron Rodgers.
Could you imagine? Let's say they do lose. Let's hypothetical this one, Ricky, real quick. Packers lose in the NFC Championship game.
Traded to Houston.
They literally picked a quarterback up in the first round of the draft. They then took a third-string running back. They then took a second-string tight end. That was the top of their draft this past year. What the fuck are you doing if you're Aaron Rodgers? How do you tolerate that as an organization?
Does he complete the Favre trifecta?
Get me the fuck out of here.
Get me the fuck out of here, and they trade him to the Jets. He gets to go to the Jets. He pushes Sam Darnold to the side. Sam Darnold sits behind the great one. And then A-Rod has to sit there a year before he gets to go wherever he wants.
I mean, it is an interesting one. I think that's a hell of a hypothetical. I hope we don't have that conversation here on Monday. But if the Packers lose this weekend, we're having that conversation Monday. I'm just going to preview it for everyone watching right now.
Yeah. I don't think they lose, but that's just me. I think they're the better team.
I got them to go,
Like I said, though, if the Bucs want a chance, that defense has to play as phenomenally as it did last week. Devin White has to be faux real because this offense that he's playing is definitely faux real, Dave.
Yep.
They aren't just for real, they're faux real. That is like an extra level of Super Saiyan-like real that you reach when you're at the top. But Dave, that's going to do it for the show today. A great way to end the weekend. Thank you guys for sticking around with us. What'd you say?
Hell of a week.
Hell of a week. I thought you said oh, and I was like, oh, okay, what are we doing? Remember, join the Discord, link down below, or !Discord gets you in to the greatest community in the universe. If you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids, or throwing us a sub on Twitch is the way to go. We're on Twitch, twitch.tv/MVPvids. We're on YouTube at MVP Sports. Make sure you're followed and subbed at both of those places. Dave and I will be back next week for more content, more sports talk. Thank you guys for being so great for everything you do. And as always, have a good day, everybody.
WPN.